There is a narrow stretch of water in the Middle East that quietly controls a huge part of the global economy. It's called the Strait of Hormuz, and even though it's only about 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, nearly 1/5 of the world's oil supply passes through it every single day. When tensions rise in this region, the effects are felt almost immediately across global markets, from gasoline prices to shipping costs to food prices. Right now, geopolitical tensions surrounding the Strait of Hormuz are once again raising concerns about energy supplies and international trade. To understand why this matters so much, we first need to understand what the Strait of Hormuz actually is. What is the Strait of Hormuz? The Strait of Hormuz sits between Iran to the north and Oman to the south, connecting the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea. It serves as the primary export route for oil and gas produced by some of the world's largest energy producers. Countries that rely on this route include Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar. Together, these countries produce a massive portion of global energy supplies. Each day, roughly 20 million barrels of oil travel through this narrow shipping lane. In addition to oil, huge shipments of liquefied natural gas, or LNG, also pass through the strait, especially from Qatar, one of the largest LNG exporters in the world. Because so much of the global energy supply flows through this one passage, it's often described as the most important oil choke point in the world. Why the strait matters for businesses, the Strait of Hormuz is not just a geopolitical issue, it's a supply chain issue. Energy is a foundational cost for almost every industry. When energy prices rise, the ripple effects spread throughout the economy. For example, transportation companies rely heavily on fuel. Manufacturers need energy to power factories. Airlines depend on jet fuel, which is derived from oil. Shipping companies burn massive amounts of marine fuel to move cargo around the world. If oil shipments through the Strait of Hormuz are disrupted, global oil prices can spike very quickly. When that happens, businesses face rising operating costs, which can lead to higher prices for consumers. This is one reason why energy markets react so quickly to any tensions in the region. Impact on global shipping and trade. The Strait of Hormuz also plays a critical role in global shipping and logistics. Thousands of tankers and cargo ships move through this waterway each year. If shipping companies believe the region is unsafe, they may reroute vessels or suspend operations entirely. When that happens, two major things occur. First, shipping insurance costs rise dramatically because insurers classify the area as a high-risk war zone. Second, ships may take longer alternative routes. For example, some vessels may avoid the Persian Gulf altogether, adding thousands of miles to shipping routes. Longer routes mean higher fuel costs, longer delivery times, higher freight rates. These increased transportation costs eventually filter down into the prices businesses pay for raw materials and finished goods. Supply chain and commodity impacts. The Strait of Hormuz does not only affect oil. Natural gas markets are also heavily tied to the region. If LNG exports are disrupted, electricity prices can rise in many parts of the world, especially in Europe and Asia. Energy prices also influence agriculture. Fertilizer production relies heavily on natural gas, so disruptions in energy markets can indirectly lead to higher food production costs, which eventually show up in grocery prices. Meanwhile, industries like construction, manufacturing, and chemicals are highly sensitive to energy price changes. Even technology industries feel the effects because semiconductor manufacturing and data centers consume large amounts of electricity. The Strait of Hormuz may look like a small stretch of water on a map, but in reality, it sits at the center of the global energy system. When tensions rise in this region, the consequences ripple across the global economy, affecting oil prices, shipping costs, supply chains, and even food prices. That's why governments, investors, and businesses around the world are constantly watching what happens in this narrow but incredibly important waterway. Because when the Strait of Hormuz is unstable, the global economy often feels the impact almost immediately.